So our summer doubles start tomorrow, which means we're going to have, for the first week anyway, a lot of people missing because there's still school and different things going on and they're getting used to their summer schedules. So with that being said, it doesn't mean that you should begin sloppy. And if you're wondering why the lights are off in here, it's because we've already closed up for the night. So we've luckily got a little bit of sun coming in from the side, which is nice. But again, let me get off topic here. Let me get clear on what I'm trying to do, which is trying to make sure that people are set up for success for the summer, for our summer training programs. And whether they're here or elsewhere, or whether that means that you're training at your camp or on the road or whatever, there's a few things that you're going to want to do. And the first thing is going to be, you're going to want to look over here at where we've got our top program, the things that you want to be focused on. You want to make sure that you're working on building good habits. Good habits for the summer start in the first week of training. So, and actually they start a little bit before that if you really want to help yourself. So do yourself a favor, establish good habits in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, setting up recovery and everything else that goes along with it. Your mindset. Do a little bit of studying on what that even means. Some of you have no idea. So Carol Dweck's a good place to start. There's the abundance mindset. There's so many different labels for mindsets. The main thing is that you're aware that you have one, even if you don't even know that you have one. So next is food and nutrition. Don't skimp on your food and nutrition. It's extremely important. Do the best you can with what you have and be aware of it, but be consistent, and that's important. Decision making, whether this means in the gym or socially, work on making better decisions and work on making more efficient decisions, meaning if something can be a decision that you make now that will impact you for the rest of your life because you form a habit, that's a great decision. So you don't have to constantly make that decision. That's where we're talking about like wearing the same outfit. Goal setting. Get clear and trackable goals. This is an absolute necessity before you begin a huge training cycle. So before you go into the summer, get some really clear trackable goals. Organization and execution. This is a huge one. You need to make sure that you have a good structure, that you have systems put in place, that you know how and where to collect things, information, how you process that information, and then how you can make sure that you execute on it and follow through. Practice and training. Get real clear on what you're trying to get out of this summer for your practice and for your training. Again, like you're setting up goals, but you're also setting up a mental structure in your mind, and then how you can get better between practices and between training sessions. There's a lot of things you can do. Film study, breaking down different things, and then there's a whole bunch of different evaluation things you can do. Rest and recovery. Take it seriously. If you are not rested and you're not recovering, what are you working out for? Because you want to go out there and play around and have fun? That's fine, but you can still do the right thing for rest and recovery. Internal and external communication. Make sure that you're aware of the self-talk that you have going on. Make sure that you're also aware of the way that you're presenting yourself to other people. If you're not doing a good job presenting the best version of yourself, maybe they don't even know who you are. And more importantly, maybe they're not going to want a relationship with you or to take you seriously if they don't feel like you're the kind of person that they should involve in their life. Attitude, your attitude, number 10, huge. Attitude of gratitude, we can go on about this forever, but the main thing is try to be a leader, but don't force yourself into a disingenuous situation where you're not being who you really are. Be yourself and be the best version of yourself, and that's the best you can do. Delayed gratification. Don't feel like just because you want to win in the moment, that's the most important thing in the moment. Because let's be honest with ourselves, you need to get better in practice, and sometimes that means that you're not winning a particular situation because you put yourself into a situation you wouldn't ordinarily do so that you understand how to get out of that, kind of that play component of building a better athlete. So again, caution sign, throwing up the caution sign for a second. I'm not saying to get into a habit of losing. So let's make sure that we're clear on that. I'm not saying to go and lose at practice on purpose. I'm telling you to go to practice and put yourself in situations where you can grow. and then be really clear on the fact that that was what you were looking for an outcome. And a lot of people like stop training over the summer, the little vision quest, like hit the squeezy all the time. You need to rest, you need to recover, but you also need to make sure you stay consistent with your training. Had several conversations today with people who are like, well, you know, we got so much going on, we'll see what we can do. Don't stop training. That's what I'm telling you right now. Do not stop training. Would you stop playing a sport altogether if you wanted to get better? No. Strength, speed, stamina, all these things are skills that you can build up over time. If you just stop altogether, what happens in the United States when we stop studying for school during the summer? You lose. You lose. That's what happens. You lose ground, you lose momentum, you lose pushing on that flywheel, you forget things, and then you gotta what? You gotta make up for it in the fall. You gotta make up for it whenever it is you come back to training or whatever else you're doing. Do not take a break. It is the worst decision that you can possibly make. And that doesn't mean that you have to train with us. It just means you still should be doing some things that are appropriate. You don't need to go like super hard. And then, so over here we've got your strength, speed, and endurance, your stability, mobility, and agility, your technique, your tactics, your training, all the way down here on the bottom. So those are things to think about too, you know. Also, are you rolling out? Are you taking care of yourself? And then we're looking at this one right here. Is your workout balanced? You know, we were joking about balanced protein the other day, but is your workout balanced? Does it make sense? When you stop and look at your workout, does it look like something that somebody put together because they understand what kind of player you are, on what kind of team you're on, and what type of offense or defense you're trying to set up with your health history and all the other things going on? You need to be aware of that stuff. You can't just blindly go through a training program. This isn't, and that's the problem with places that are all doing the same workouts, or they're not taking all the stuff into account. They can track your heart rate as much as you want. I mean, if you want to do a cardio workout, that's fine. But if you're trying to actually get a workout in to become a better athlete, that's a whole different story. And you can argue that until you're blue in the face. It's just, if you're not being specific, you're not optimizing. So right here, flow triggers. This is also super important before you start summer. Start to learn how to put yourself into a flow state and start to track when you think you were in a flow state and maybe how you got there. That's very, very helpful to know, because obviously you're going to perform better when you're in the zone or in the flow state. Let's go over the 17 triggers really quick. Some of them are individual, some of them are team-oriented. Obviously the team ones are a little tougher. But first one, intensely focused attention. That's kind of very obvious. Clearly stated goals, also very obvious. Immediate feedback, what does that mean? That means when you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, that like if something goes wrong, you will know immediately, because you will feel that sense of not failure, but basically losing or a loss of performance. Then challenge the skill ratio. Make sure that it's something that you can handle or within a small percentage of above your your pay grade. So don't go from being a minnow to jumping into Shark Tank. High consequences, meaning it should feel like something that you have a little bit of something to risk. Rich environment, deep embodiment, serious concentration, shared clear goals. So now we're talking about team. Good communications, again, team. Familiarity, that's also team, but then also like yourself. Like it should be a little familiar to yourself. If the more familiar you are, the more you're going to be able to roll with the punches. Equal participation, risk, sense of control, close listening, always saying yes, and creativity. Again, and we've said this before, but that creativity one is really, really, really important. We have so many people that overlook the creativity piece just because they want to talk about being more tough. You know, they want to talk about being stoic. They want to talk about overcoming some obstacle because of how hard they worked. And that's all well and good, but you also need to be able to be creative and operate on the fly and kind of have that playfulness. And the ones who have that playfulness and they also have that clear goals and the focus, they're the ones that are going to be in flow. Good luck in doubles.